Goodness golly gracious! So, seemingly against all odds, Nintendo just announced a brand new Super Smash Bros. For the Switch, and naturally the internet basically exploded. YouTube is now positively on fire with reactions and discussions and speculation, and I'm finding myself more excited than I thought I would be about the inevitable Smash reveal. I mean, obviously just the fact that it's a new game and not just an enhanced port is plenty exciting. I don't care what anyone says, I'm moving forward assuming this is a new game, but even beyond that, the idea of Smash on the Switch is just it's stirring up that old love of Smash that's been kind of dormant inside of me. See, I was completely obsessed with the first two games. So obsessed. I logged hundreds and hundreds of hours into them. When Brawl came around, I had just become an adult and was working and going to college, so I wasn't quite able to pour myself into it to such a degree, but I still played it a lot with my friends and hugely enjoyed working through Subspace Emissary and unlocking all the characters and all that. Smash 4, though? It just didn't pull me in. My life was more busy than it had ever been, so I wasn't really into inviting friends over to play a bunch, and I had limited patience for the types of multiplayer games where you don't stand any sort of chance unless you play a ton and learn every little thing there is to learn and train, basically. There was still a chance that I could enjoy playing through the single player and unlocking the characters, but oh, look at that. There was no adventure mode, and basically every character was revealed in Nintendo Directs and the like. So despite being one of those rare Wii U owners, I didn't feel like bothering. I skipped the game. But now that my love of couch multiplayer has been rekindled and the ability to play big, beautiful games on the go has gotten me interested in a wider variety of games, I'm looking at Smash and I'm getting a little worked up. You know, I'm getting excited again. My blood is pumping and I'm loving that feeling. So then the obvious question is, if this will be my first Smash experience in over a decade, what do I want in a new game? Well, I will tell you the answer to that question, because that is the point of this video. I mean, it's down in the title. That's why you clicked on it, right? Yeah! That is without a doubt the worst intro I've ever done. Anyway, let's get this one out of the way first because it's the biggest one and probably the most obvious. That adventure mode, man. I want adventure mode to make a comeback. I don't know what it is. I've got this thing with competitive games where I think they're fun, so I want to play them, but I don't want to play in the traditional way in the main modes. You know? I want to play Mario Kart for the battle mode. I want to play Splatoon for the story mode and Salmon Run. I want to play Smash for the adventure mode. I think I like that adventure mode is different, you know? I played the one in Melee like 1,000 times, just 1,000,000 times. I just loved moving through these areas and fighting these different Nintendo baddies. And then Subspace Emissary was a dream come true. It was straight out of my imagination. This thing was a game within a game. All the crazy crossover cutscenes, the cool bosses, it was just a blast. I just want that creativity, you know? I don't always want to fight other people, and when I'm playing alone, I get bored just in endless fights with CPUs. Adventure mode is a way to still be enjoying the game in my own way. So yeah, I just wanted to make a comeback. I wouldn't even be too disappointed if they wanted to scale it back from the level of Subspace Emissary. That was really ambitious. They basically took Melee's adventure mode and multiplied it by 50. They could make it a little shorter and not have all the pre-rendered cutscenes as long as it was still a relatively meaty series of neat environments to move through and bosses to beat. It would need to be longer than the one in Melee, that's for sure. Since growing up, I'm not quite as keen on playing something that short just again and again and again. The campaign should be decently long with stuff to unlock through multiple playthroughs. Rewards for beating it with different characters would be nice. If the reward was good enough, that would increase replayability dramatically. And this kind of ties into my next point. I don't want them to spoil all the characters again. The joy of playing it and not knowing who I'm going to unlock is just pure magic. It's what I lived for when I played the first 3 games. Smash 4 just didn't have that. And I sort of understand why they did it the way they did it. This is the social media age. They needed to create as much buzz around the 2 games as possible. I just think they took it too far. The other games had lots of new characters to show off in all the trailers, but still held back a few awesome surprises for those who actually played it. I want them to strike that balance again. In fairness, the cinematics that they made to reveal the Smash 4 characters, they were really, really awesome. Even if I couldn't unlock them all myself, at least this was still a fun way to package the reveals and have it be like a fun, exciting, mysterious kind of thing. For many, these were enough, but I think the reason I'm more into finding out about them by unlocking them myself is that when you find them in the game, you immediately get to have them. It's not, here's a guy that will be in the game that you'll play someday. It's, here's a guy that's, look, he's in this game. This guy that you love, he's here. He's right now. You have him now. He's yours. Go nuts. So what if they gave us the best of both worlds? What if they made it so that most, if not all, the characters were unlocked through the adventure mode, like many were unlocked through Subspace Emissary? What if you work your way through the levels and you unlock characters as you encounter them and beat them? Each encounter could be preceded by one of these cool cutscenes, just like they did with Smash 4. That way, we get that cool cutscene packaging, we get to discover the characters for ourselves, and then the adventure mode has some cool cinematics in it without having to, like, put together a story or anything like that, like in Subspace Emissary. It just sounds perfect to me. I'd really like it if they did it that way. Let's hit on a couple hopes that aren't exactly about the game itself. I hope Sakurai isn't the lead director or producer on the game. I know that sounds a little funny to say, but this guy is working himself to death on this series. He's basically said as much. For him, working on a Smash Brothers game means working all hours of the day for years at a time. This dude needs a break. And I know he works so hard because he wants to make sure every single little detail is perfect, but that's the sort of thing that can be done by other people. It's one thing to create a piece of fiction and say, I need to be in control of every aspect of this because I have a vision, but Smash Brothers is much more technical. I'm sure it's very difficult to pull it all off, but I'm also sure there are plenty of folks who could do it instead of him. Mainly though, Sakurai is a terrific game designer. I honestly think his talents are being wasted on Smash. Kid Icarus Uprising showed so much promise. It was so creative and awesome, and Sakurai should be working on more games like that. He should be one of your Miyamotos, your Koizumis, your Aonumas, producing all sorts of fantastic games instead of slaving away at Smash Brothers for years and years, trying to balance all the characters and make sure all their moves are frame perfect. It sounds like he's been working on this one in some capacity, according to his Twitter, but he's expressed interest in leaving the series in the past, so I'm hoping he's just helping out or something without being like the guy in charge. It would be great if he was a consultant on the project while helming something else entirely. Then next, I really hope it does come out this year. As I said in my discussion video on the Direct, I'm fairly confident that it will. Like, ever since the Switch became a thing, Nintendo's been sticking to their dates and windows and all that. So right now, I have no real reason to believe that it won't come in 2018, especially because we were just talking about how Nintendo needs something big for the holidays, and this fits the bill pretty darn well. I just know that things can change and these games are pretty big, so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that everything lines up right and we get to play some sweet, sweet Smash by Christmas time. And as something of an aside, can you even imagine how Switch sales are going to look this Christmas? Because I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around it. As long as Pay It Online doesn't scare too many people off, this is going to be insane. If Nintendo does a Smash bundle or something and retailers like sell it for $300 around Black Friday, we're talking pure madness. Pure madness. They'll sell 500 million Switches in one day. But anyway, back to more pressing matters. Characters. I want Midna with Wolf Link. I mean, come on, it's just too perfect. Look how well they fit into Hyrule Warriors. There are about 1 million different moves they could do. He can hit and bite for the A moves, and she can use her big zappy hand for the B moves. It's just perfect. Also, Midna is just an awesome character, and the world needs more Midna. I'd also like Isaac from Golden Sun. I know he would be another sword character, and Smash certainly doesn't need any more sword characters, but Golden Sun wallowing in obscurity is just a tragedy. This series has the potential to be everything as big as Fire Emblem and Xenoblade, so I just want Nintendo to acknowledge it beyond assist trophies. Give us Isaac with a cool final smash with all the summons, and hey, make a new Golden Sun while you're at it. Then Skull Kid, come on, Skull Kid would be fantastic. He's more of a trickster and less of a fighter, so it's a little hard to imagine him beating other characters up, but hey, we got the villager, so that whole thing's basically out the window now. I want Skull Kid in Smash. Then, you know, I never quite got all the Ridley love before. Everyone else was rooting for him to come to Smash in every discussion on the games, and I was just pretty neutral, I guess. I was even a little surprised. But I think I finally get it now. I think I'm finally like, yeah, we need Ridley. He's one of the only consistent things in the Metroid universe that you could sort of call a character. And plus, it would just be awesome. He's a cool pterodactyl guy. Scale is indeed a big issue. He's very big, and they can mess with sizes a little, but you can only go so far before the characters standing next to each other start to look kind of weird. Bowser's pretty darn big though, so I think they could probably do Ridley, especially if a lot of his bulk was made up by his wings and those could just be aesthetic, like in the background, so he's not actually taking up such a ridiculous amount of physical space but still appears huge. Then as long as we're talking about Metroid, Dark Samus would be awesome. Like not just the skin for Samus, but a full-on Dark Samus character with unique moves. She could float around, shoot all the dark energy goopy goop. My gosh, that would be cool. Beyond that, I'm surprised by how hard it is for me to think of other characters I want. Nintendo has already covered so many characters in so many games that I'm honestly struggling to think of more that I want. And I also can't really think of any other third-party characters that I think would just be perfect. I can think of some Nintendo characters that I won't even bother wishing for because they're just a little too obscure. Any number of Paper Mario characters, mostly. Junior Troopa, anyone? Though hey, while I'm talking about Paper Mario, how about Paper Mario himself? He could easily have a unique moveset, he could use his hammer a lot, maybe have some star powers, something like that. If they're willing to dip into Mario and Luigi, Fawful would be pretty great. And as much as I hate to admit it, you know Tingle would be perfect. You know he would be perfect. He's got all these rupee magical balloon powers. It would be way easy to turn him into a fighter. Then it would be fun if Smash took a page out of Mario Kart's book and included some baddies. You could play as a plain old Koopa or a Shy Guy or a Petey Piranha would be a good one too. Zelda races would be cool too. You know, Goron, Zora, Deku Scrub, or you could just do the champions from Breath of the Wild. Those would be neat too. But really, that's about all I can think of. There are more that would work, but none that I'm like really gunning for personally or anything. In fact, most of the ones I've listed, I'm not like super passionate about. I just think they would be pretty cool. You know what I mean? I think like Wolf Link with Midna is like the main one that I'm like, yes, I want it really, really bad. Maybe Skull Kid. That's kind of a close second. Dark Samus is kind of in there, but still nothing like that I would just scream my head off if I saw, you know? Actually, before the reveal, Inklings were pretty up there on my list, and there you go, Inklings. Lastly, I would love it if the team gave themselves a little more freedom with the designs of classic characters. Like, I know some of these guys have been around for so many years that the developers don't want to make any huge changes, but I feel like they could all use a shakeup. Rethink how Mario should be, or DK, or Link, or anyone. Start fresh. More specifically though, I want them to offer more alternate versions of characters that are more than just skins or clones. One of my biggest disappointments with Brawl was unlocking Toon Link and finding that he was really just another Link clone. He kind of just replaced Child Link. All the same moves, just done a little differently. Like, really? Toon Link? How about his grapple hook? How about his Deku Leaf? How about his ability to control the wind? He so easily could have been made into his own unique version of Link. And that's the kind of thing I want. I want unique versions. I mean, there are so many different Links. It's a waste to make them all identical. How about the Breath of the Wild Link we saw in the trailer, having remote bombs and stasis and the ability to change his weapon type? How about Mario with Flood or Luigi with the Poltergust, both with completely new movesets? And I know they moved away from characters that transform, but Child Link with the ability to put on his different masks? Come on. Having a Goron and a Zora and a Deku Scrub, like I said earlier, would be cool, but it would be even cooler if Link could just turn into those things. And I've always dreamed of having a Ganondorf that could transform into Ganon and actually fight that way, not just his final smash. Basically, I know that clones are a way to fill out the roster with fun characters without completely killing the dev team with the workload, but they're missing a lot of great opportunities. If you can have multiple different versions of Samus or Zelda, you can have different versions of these other guys too. Well, we'll probably have to wait until E3 for more info, but that is what I want at least. That's the kind of stuff I'm hoping for, whatever that's worth coming from a casual fan who didn't even play Smash 4. You know what I'm gonna ask? I want you to tell me what you want from Smash 5 down in the comments. Characters, features, anything. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go watch the teaser again because it seriously gives me chills every time.